WHPC Garden City, New York, the voice of Nassau Community College.
Listen.
Join WHPC's Daily News Wrap-Up, weekdays at 4:30 p.m., bringing you a complete report of the day's news home and abroad, as well as sports, weather, and many other informative features.
Gotcha.
We're Long Island's FM alternative.
.3 FM, WHPC. From the Pressbox is what you're listening to. I'm Rob Leonard, and of course my co-host is Tim Leonard, award-winning journalist, and also
all-around nice guy.
All-around nice guy, and yes, we are brothers. For those who might say, well, they both have the same last name, or are they related to Sugar Ray Leonard? No.
I tell people we are.
Are they related to Pat Leonard, the writer from the Daily News? No, we're not.
Are they related to Kawhi Leonard?
No, we're
of
not.
The Spurs? Yes, we are.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
I'm
sure.
kidding.
And are we related to Kevin Leonard? Yes, we are. He's our cousin. He's our writer cousin. Anyway, so much to talk about since last week, including A-Rod. We'll be talking about the Jets with JP Pelzman of the Bergen Record in about 15 minutes.
Probably kind of the favorite guest of the show, JP Pelzman.
JP just brings it home, man. He knows what he's doing, man. Especially the Jets. You know, we always talk about the Jets on the show, according to our cousin Kevin. So,
well, what does he want us to talk about? The Redskins?
Yeah. Well,
Come on. Seriously.
Anyway, yesterday the Rangers, unfortunately for Islander fans like me, won against the Washington Capitals, forcing a Game 7 in the Eastern Conference semifinals. It was actually a very good game, but it was disappointing for Islander fans that the Rangers won. I was very disappointed, but it was actually a very good game. So you can't complain too much, can you?
Well, good game for sure, but really what I've been thinking pretty much this entire series, because the Rangers really have not played well at all in the playoffs until yesterday. They did play well yesterday. I can't help but think what would the Islanders have been doing to the Rangers, and would this series be over already? Because until yesterday, the Rangers just have not looked good in the playoffs. And the thing that absolutely astounds me is how Ranger fans seem to be putting everything on Henrik Lundqvist. And it's like,
Henrik.
The King isn't getting it done for us. Well, if your team scores one goal, you're probably not going to win a game. And that's what the Rangers have done far too often in the playoffs. The problem with the Rangers in the playoffs have been Rick Nash, who had a fantastic season but has pretty much almost completely disappeared in the playoffs again until yesterday. Martin St. Louis has been virtually non-existent. Chris Kreider, who had a phenomenal game yesterday, but might as well have been on the missing persons list or in witness protection, because I didn't know where he was in pretty much the entire playoffs until yesterday. Great game yesterday. But that's the kind of game he's capable of, and that's the kind of game you need to see out of him. He scored 2 goals yesterday, including one of them basically with one hand. And Braden Holtby from the Capitals has been outstanding. He was outstanding against the Islanders. He's been outstanding against the Rangers. They finally figured out a way to beat him, which I didn't think was possible. I didn't think anybody was going to score 4 goals on this guy. He's looking like the classic hot goalie who gets you through the playoffs, even though your team isn't all that good. And he's been that guy for the Capitals. But yesterday, the Rangers figured out. Yesterday was the big game, because when the Rangers won Game 5 after they went down 3-1, I expected them to win Game 5. You know, back at the Garden, fans are going to be screaming and giving them all the energy they need from the seats, and probably yelling a few profanities at them too when they don't like what they're doing.
Not Ranger fans.
That's Ranger fans. But I expected them to win that game, and they had to go to overtime to do it, so their season was hanging by a thread, but they got it done. And to me, yesterday was the big game, because now you have to go to D.C. and win Game 6 on somebody else's ice. And give them credit. The Rangers probably played their best game, not only of this series, but of the playoffs yesterday. And now we're coming back to Game 7 at the Garden. Who knows? Who knows what Ranger team we're going to see? Because it's tough to maintain that level for 3 straight games.
Well, I'm reminded of the Islanders. You know, you said what the series looked like if it was Islanders-Rangers. I think it would have been very even, because the Islanders had games when they weren't scoring either.
Yeah, I mean,
and
it would have been.
I'm reminded of Game 6 of the Islanders against the Capitals where they destroyed them, and then Game 7 where they forgot to play.
I don't know. We have differing opinions on Game 7. I didn't think the Islanders played that badly in Game 7, but obviously they lost, so the end result wasn't what you wanted it to be.
First period and a half, they were not doing. If they'd done what they did in Game 6 and Game 7, they would have won.
I know, but that's sports. You can't, if you could bottle it and have it show up every night, then then you're talking about a formula that would make you a billionaire.
Well, of course.
So.
But it's going to be a good Game 7. I look forward to this as a sports person, as a hockey fan. We all know who I want to win, but then again, I really don't want I don't think the Capitals deserve to go to the finals, or the Eastern Conference Finals. I should say.
And you know what? As much as I like Alexander Ovechkin, the winger from the Capitals, he really is getting a little bit annoying. I mean, this whole thing about he scored in the first 2 games, and apparently he said something to Lundqvist, and people were wondering what it was. And apparently he said he skated past Lundqvist, and he said, "All series, baby, all series." like this is how it's going to go, all series. And I'm like, what a cocky SOB. I mean, come on with that, But if that's how he's going to be, and even yesterday after the game, he says, "Oh, we're winning Game 7, and we'll be playing Tampa Bay or Montreal in the next round." And the first thing I thought of was Patrick Ewing. Because, be careful what you say and how you say it.
Every time Patrick guaranteed something, it didn't.
That's my point. I mean, it's one thing to say it; it's another thing to be Mark Messier and make it happen.
Yeah.
And as much as I'm not a big Messier fan. I had a lot of respect for Messier, but on a personal level, I didn't really like him very much.
No.
Because of the relationship I had with him when I was covering the Rangers.
Okay.
He was
you did cover the Rangers for a little while.
He was a very difficult guy to pin down for an interview.
Right.
And I was actually working on a story at one point about the old WHA. This was back when he was like the last player left who had played in the WHA, who was still in the NHL. And, I mean, fine, if you don't want to talk about it, then tell me. But don't be a ghost and don't disappear and don't tell me you're going to be somewhere and then not be there and said, "Oh, I left early. How about we do it tomorrow?" Or, "Oh, my friend's in town. I wanted to," don't tell me you're going to do something. This is your job. This is your part of your job as a professional athlete is to talk to reporters. That's why they're paying you millions of dollars.
And if you're not going to talk, at least say it. Say, "Hey, I don't want to talk about it."
Yeah, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But don't jerk me around and don't make me go from the Garden to Nassau Coliseum. And then when I see him at the Coliseum, he says, "Oh yeah, hey, you again." And I'm like, "Yeah, me again. I'm chasing you now. Now this is what I'm reduced to." So anyway, but like I said, all the respect in the world for Messier. He guaranteed victory, and not only did they win, he made it happen personally. He scored 3 goals that night to beat the Devils.
He did.
And that's a guarantee. That's what you want a guarantee to be if you're in sports. So Ovechkin, he better get at least 1 tomorrow night. Otherwise his guarantee isn't going to mean a whole lot.
So he didn't pull the Reggie Dunlop and tell Lundqvist.
No. We can't even repeat that on the radio.
I could probably, but
no,
I won't.
You can't. Let's not. Come on, we're a family show here.
Slapshot for those who.
Yeah, Slapshot, the greatest sports movie ever. Never mind the greatest hockey movie ever. The greatest sports movie ever.
And written by a woman, by the way, Nancy O'Dowd or Nancy Dowd, either one of you.
Yes.
So anyway, the Rangers won, forcing Game 7, which we like it as a following of sports, but we hate it because we're both Islander fans. I'm an Islander fan. I get angry when Ranger fans. It's more about the Ranger fans than the Rangers themselves at this point, because Ranger fans are so. First of all, they're always complaining about something,
jerks.
And then when they win, they think they're kings. Oh, we knew we were going to win. Lundqvist, Keen Henrik, blah 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 blah.
For a franchise that spent most of its existence losing, Ranger fans sure do get arrogant in a hurry.
We won the President's Cup this year. Who cares?
It's significant, but it's something that shows. Yes, your team was outstanding for an entire season, but if you win the President's Trophy, that you need to at least get to your conference final. I mean that's to me that's a minimum requirement. You should get to the Stanley Cup final. But let's see what happens. I'm curious to see. This series has been back and forth. It's been a very tight series. And like I said, if the Islanders had been in this series, I would have expected it to be pretty much the same way. Although I could also see this series if it was the Islanders being over and the Rangers being done already.
Oh, that would have been a good thing.
So
let's talk about something you and I had a little words about last week.
What was that?
A-Rod, and he is now ahead of Willie Mays with 661 home runs.
Good for A-Rod.
Good for A-Rod, but there was a thing about the thing we were arguing about was the fact that there is a certain amount of money that there's a contract. It's more of a personal services contract than a play contract, and now it's like, okay, will the Yankees acknowledge it? They basically didn't acknowledge that he got 661, if I'm not mistaken.
No, they did.
They did.
They did.
Okay.
But
they didn't.
It was
but
on the
plan,
scoreboard.
Okay, it was on the scoreboard, but
Yeah.
it's not like this whole thing where, well, he is now number 4 in the baseball home run kings, that type of
No,
thing.
they
Or
had that on the
Is he
scoreboard.
He's 3. It's Bobby
Yeah.
Bonds.
No, he's
Barry
number.
Bonds.
He's now number 4.
Oh, 4. Okay.
Yeah.
Who's 3? You got Bonds,
Bonds, Ruth, Aaron.
Oh, Aaron, Bonds, Aaron, Ruth.
Yeah, Bonds,
Okay,
Aaron,
right.
Ruth. Don't forget about Hank.
I
Hank's
try
the
not
man.
to. I try not to.
Hank,
So-
Hank to a lot of us, Hank is the real home run king, by the way.
Definitely. So he now he's at 661. If he makes 700, it's going to be lucky, I think.
Well, you know what?
He has been playing well.
Before the season
have to give him
started,
credit.
I would have agreed with you because I wouldn't have thought that A-Rod would even hit 700 for the rest of his career. But after passing Willie Mays, A-Rod is on pace to hit 40 home runs this year, which is pretty freaking remarkable.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know where the power is coming from, and obviously A-Rod on a 40 home run pace, people are going to start screaming, "Oh, he's still on the juice," and he figured out a way to cheat
Is he
the system
being tested?
again.
Does he get tested?
Oh, absolutely, he's being tested.
Okay.
That goes without saying, but.
I mean, is that in his contract or is that part of the?
It's
the
part of the
Players
basic
Associ-
agreement.
Okay,
I don't know what the standard is or what the situation is for for somebody who has been suspended. I would assume, I don't know for a fact though, but I would assume that he probably gets tested more than a regular player.
I would hope so.
I mean, that would make sense to me. It would seem like the right thing to do, but I give him all credit in the world, and I can't hate on A-Rod. And a lot of people want to say, oh, he should be banned for life, and these are the same people that said Michael Vick should never be allowed to play in the NFL again.
The reactionaries.
The reactionaries, exactly. But to me, he served his time. He served his punishment, just like Michael Vick paid his price, paid his debt to society. And fine, if he still has the ability to play Major League Baseball, he should be on the field because he can help a team. And ultimately, professional sports is about winning. That's what it's about. That's what it's about the most.
Well,
it's about winning.
Gets me. He probably. Well, I don't know how introspective he is, but you think about it. Last year, he lost the whole season. And imagine how many more home runs he could have had, how many more things toward the records he could have had. Mind you, he's 39 this year, turning 40 in a couple of months or a couple of
June or July,
Yeah,
I think.
so-
I'm not 100% sure.
So he no one's getting any younger, as I like to say. So it's too bad, in that sense that, let's say he hadn't had that, he lost the season anyway.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I don't know that I would say it's too bad because he did it to himself.
Oh, he did do it to himself.
It's not like when Derek Jeter lost the season because somebody slid into his ankle and broke his ankle, and
Right.
basically he was like out for about 100 games.
Right.
That is what happens when you play sports. Sometimes you get hurt. This was completely his fault. It was self-inflicted. So to say it's too bad, to me, it would have been nice to be able to see this guy play clean his entire career, and we wouldn't have to be dealing with. Well, what might have been? Would he have hit 50 home runs in all those seasons? Would he have driven in 150 runs?
Yeah.
What kind of player? And I have no doubt he still would have been one of the all-time greats had he never touched any kind of performance-enhancing drugs. But it's like what I've seen from people who speak about Barry Bonds. They say he was obsessed with being an all-time great. And when he saw what McGuire and Sosa were doing, and it was apparently obvious to the players that what they were doing with PEDs, that Bonds was almost upset that the spotlight was shifting away from him. And here's a guy who's been doing, who's been such a great player for so many years. And he kind of had the attitude of, well, the hell with it. If they're doing it, I'm going to do it too. And then I'm going to show them what great is.
You look at that, there's a baseball card of him with the Pirates, I guess 89 or 90 or whatever it was.
Back in his early in his career, rookie year, second year.
His head looks, much different at the end of his career when it was puffed up from
Yeah,
PEDs.
he's skinny back then, and that's any player. Any player at 22,